And welcome to the AEW Dynamite review. We are the Dadley Boyz of WhatCulture. I'm Adam Wilborn, joined by Michael Hamflett and Michael Sidgwick, here to review everything that happened on last night's episode of AEW Dynamite. But before we get into it, if you're a fan of this sort of thing, make sure you subscribe to WhatCulture Wrestling on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Amazon Music, and YouTube. We do daily wrestling podcasts where we not only review AEW Dynamite, but also AEW Collision, Raw, SmackDown, the show formerly known as NXT 2.0. Pay-per-views, premium live events. We have interviews, roundtable discussions, and a roundup of the week complete. A lot of good quiz, of course, on Wrestle Culture. As I said, though, joined by Hamflett and Sidgwick to review last night's AEW Dynamite and all the fallout from All Out.
Look, there is one thing on the show that I thought was excellent, genuinely excellent, and I look forward to praising it to the hilt. There was 1 minute of action that blew my tits off. Otherwise, the action was fine. I sometimes feel guilty in my capacity as an analyst for not feeling quite as good about an AEW show as the consensus or a lot of the base. I don't feel guilty about thinking this was completely uninspired, not really good enough, didn't feel anything for it, didn't think it was good, didn't think it served many purposes, thought some of it was actively lame, thought it was flat, thought it was boring, realistically. There are people who will like it, and they might think, oh, they're being grumpy again. Skip this one if you want. I'm not going to be, particularly enthusiastic about it. I thought it was really boring. Really, really boring. I just watched it and thought, bloody hell, we're doing this. Like, here's Wednesday. You know what that means. And then you get the matches to come on the that lower left-hand side of the screen. I'm thinking, what the f***? Are we doing this and that? Well, it just didn't get me at all. I honestly think that, if I didn't review this for a living and I settled down to watch this one, I'd think, I'm not watching this. I'm not watching this. There's nothing really going on. There was some incident, I guess. Like they've set up matches, but that is the bare minimum. We are talking the bare minimum. Establishing directions for the next cycle of storytelling. That is bare minimum stuff for any professional wrestling league of any era and of any quality. After you do a pay-per-view. Oh, they've done directions. You know what? So do maps. Am I a cartographer now? What am I, cartographer Jones? Am I meant to read a map and think, fucking hell, this is amazing. Do you know what I mean?
On paper, like you look at it.
And you're uninspired.
But the road to Wrestle
talking about
Dream.
maps. They were better on paper, weren't they?
The road to Wrestle Dream, working backwards, I think, correct me if I'm wrong, I've got the dates wrong here. Wrestle Dream's at 3 weeks away, right? So you've got the Tuesday night one where they've had to move for hockey or whatever it is, which is is that AEW Homecoming? Is that right?
I don't know. Is that the one?
Week before that, next week, 6 years of AEW Dynamite. Give or take, there might be a one extra show in amongst this, but you've got that, and you've got the post pay-per-view launch into your Wrestle Dream story show. In theory, it should be just like wall to wall. We've got this show, and this show, and then there's another pay-per-view. I was watching this show going, and I felt guilty, and I thankfully came in and checked with YouTube because I was like, is it just me, who was just like, well, you said it, nothing's happening. Like, good wrestling, obviously, that's a given. Nothing's happening. Oh, he's got Orange Cassidy's back. Nothing's happening. Oh, he's got a flamethrower. Show's over.
Then
I got angry because I remembered you fantasy booking a better show yesterday.
Yeah, it's one of those where as soon as I saw the lineup, because it was announced, it must have been announced late.
I saw it just before I went to bed last night.
Yeah, I mean, I'm Twitter obsessed. I'm chronically online, and I do this for a living, and we previewed it yesterday. So as soon as I saw the lineup, I was thinking, it's going to be one of those. It's going to be one of those where I'll feel very little for it. It'll never get remembered as a good Dynamite. Nothing that happens on the show will ever get remembered as a great moment. It's not going to offer me anything realistically that I've not already seen or that I can get tremendously excited about in the future. And I'm going to feel like an arsehole because other people enjoyed it and I didn't. One of those.
It was Arn Anderson. He got it wrong, didn't he? But like when Arn Anderson meant to say like the word on the marquee is wrestling, and you called it a wrestling league. This was one of those Dynamites, and unfortunately, these Dynamites happen too often. Where the one thing you can't call this is a promotion.
Yeah,
it did not feel like it was promoting things to come, and perhaps more importantly, it didn't feel like it was justifying the promotion of the pay-per-view that came before it. Like it felt like far too free of ramifications on either side. If wrestling wasn't a 52-week-a-year product, and in fact they did head into breaks and things like that, this would feel like a bonus one they put in the middle of the break where there was nothing to work towards and there was nothing to bounce away from. It was just the wrestling show.
Yeah.
You go to your local indie, let's say, and indies, do storylines, but often you're booking just for the people who only go that one night and never go again. So there has to be this sense of like, this is the show you're watching tonight. Yeah. Like a weekly TV show can't act with so little thought about promotion. Yeah. I'm trying to stress this as well. I don't think it's ideal when you're not hyping your next pay-per-view or PLE, because that's ultimately the wrestling that we've been like trained on now for 20 years plus. But I would think it fine if you could at least see the direct. Like, how often do I sit here on a friggin' Raw or SmackDown podcast and fantasy book hypotheticals for wrestlers? And now WWE have got a friggin' pay-per-view or Saturday Night's Main Event every other week. Mm-hmm. The destination for the big match has disappeared compared to where it was a couple of years back. But nonetheless, the characters might inspire me to be like, well, that could be for there or that could be for there. I found there was like a shocking lack of that on this Dynamite for the majority of the cast of characters. And it was worse through thinking, you mentioned this yesterday, Serge, when you got Wilborn to recap the entire card, just in a hunt, like a Where's Wally hunt for a singular heel that might be like adequate for Hangman Page. That wasn't particularly addressed, and you could apply that to 90% of the stories in AEW. The idea that there's one big one, and you could criticize that because it was the big main event angle that then brushed aside to get to flamethrower stuff. It was pretty criminal, that. Mm-hmm. Other than that, it was so devoid of consequence and that kind of not even the biggest hook, but minor hooks and minor little I raged about it yesterday, and you shouldn't really do that in a preview because you're raging about a hypothetical. Mm-hmm. The nightmare came true with Orange Cassidy. The nightmare came true, and I was just 6 months or whatever, and one of your top stars, one of your pillars, to use a kind of soiled word, but a pillar. For this, that's not promotion. That's not lie to me. Do you know what I mean? Lie to me. Present this guy and the ground should shake a little bit because Orange Cassidy's just come back into the show, the storytelling universe. A real failure of a promotion of a Dynamite. It's a week. This doesn't feel like a week where you need to do state of AEW stuff.
No.
But it was a significant failure to be a wrestling promotion, this Dynamite.
Yeah. I was sort of looking online this morning because I got this sense of it all, and we had it, and then I was like, am I what's the phrase from
am I the asshole?
Well, am I the asshole or the Skinner one where he's like,
it's the children that
yeah.
And people were like, oh, good show. And I was like, why? Because I just, maybe like you say, as we always say, we're kind of spoiled because you go, well, it was a good show. You had 3 title matches on there, some good wrestling, new women's titles.
Only in name, one of them. Only in name.
And I was just like you say, very forgettable.
Very forgettable. And here's another thing. Yeah, I might be moody, but I'm also consistent, right? There is an ongoing program on AEW Dynamite that I can't sit here and say I'm bored of the vision. Same thing every single week. These Paul Levesque takes ages to wrap these things up. First of all, Kenny Omega's been feuding with Don Callis on and off for 10 years. By extension, so is Hangman Page at this point. That's, there's another program where I'm like, when is this going to end? And how could I possibly get excited about it? And, spoiler alert, it's the Ops and the Death Riders. The last 2 significant milestone episodes of Dynamite, what was it, the 250th? Mm-hmm. No, what was the one? Spring Breakthrough.
Spring Breakthrough
that we've outlasted Nitro Dynamite, headlined by a trios match involving members of the Death Riders on one side and members of the Ops on the other. The 6th anniversary, months later, when was Spring Break? It was April, wasn't it?
Yeah.
They
opened All In as well, didn't they?
Yeah.
Trios
And it's
title
been
match.
going, and they've done Anarchy in the Arena, and it's been on in the background. But it was April because Spring Breakthrough, it was the week before WrestleMania as well, wasn't it?
It was.
It was the Wednesday before Mania, and the idea was...
the Athena Money match.
Yeah.
One of my favourites.
And the idea was, they're doing a show on free TV than the Fed's going to do
Yes.
at WrestleMania. April, May, June, July, August, 6 months, and the next milestone...
How many months? There was 6
There was 6 of them. Are you blind? Jesus! 6
Sorry.
months later, the next milestone AEW TV show, which is we've had 6 years of Dynamite, right? And realistically, yeah, Hangman Page is the champion. Things have obviously changed. But in terms of that program, like, it's just a bit of a grim reflection on where AEW storytelling is at, because surely you should have a big, massive, marquee match lined up that you either haven't seen or haven't revisited in a while, or it's just, we're getting that on free TV. If they were building stars, really building interest in a lot of different acts and getting a lot of people over who haven't really been in the mix or whatever, you'd surely see a different main event. The fact it's just stark how the 2 main events, or the two of the big matches for the 2 milestones 6 months apart, are almost the same.
It wasn't on this Dynamite. Although I suppose it was. The Kingston Hook tag match graphic for Collision's pretty bleak, isn't it?
I told you.
You did.
I told you Eddie Kingston will wrestle a match with Brian Keith on Collision, because that's just how Tony books.
It's that I don't know, that like made my stomach go a little bit, because I was just like, I was sort of defensive about the reasoning behind the Eddie Kingston return and what it pissed a lot of people off, and then the match played out in such a way where it's like, well, maybe that's why it sits there on the card, maybe that's why it was intentionally like people's expectations were lowered and all that sort of stuff. If anything, I think you lower them further by creating the boring tag spin-off immediately. It's like, that is so dangerously patterned. We joke about wings, but that's dangerously patterned for both the guy that's come back, and people 7 days ago would have been fantasy booking the idea of Eddie Kingston finally having that world title run, and like now he's a new wing for Hook, and like instantly, they've literally got together on the pay-per-view and they're instantly in that tag match, and it's that thing you've seen a gazillion times over. As a comparison point, I don't think Chris Jericho would permit that level of formula if he made his return at a pay-per-view and he was with let's say he reunites with Sammy Guevara. I don't even think you're putting the Sex Gods on Collision. I think he would know what that reflects. Yeah. It's like, well, the Sex Gods are back on Collision. On what? No, I'm going to do an in-ring promo on Dynamite to announce my return, and me and Sammy are going to get it right this time, whatever. It wasn't even that for Kingston. No. The talker has yet again been marginalised with the B-show tag.
And it's just the most you saw of Eddie Kingston after his triumphant return on pay-per-view, ostensibly, was
which is fine, by the way. Like, that's an okay thing to lie about. Slow down the clip and make it look like Kingston made a successful return. I know you said ostensibly, but you can promote. You can work it.
Yeah. The most you saw of Eddie Kingston, cult AEW hero, former champion, someone who has been part of the best moments, or some of the best moments in the history of the entire promotion. The most you saw of him on the TV show after returning from well over a year out on the pay-per-view was like a little tiny render of his match graphic for Collision. Not good enough on that basis. I had one more thing to say before I wanted to dive in. I can't really remember. It's just flat. Doesn't feel hot. Does not feel hot.
I said the other week when I think I said it's not cold, but it's cooled. Since we kind of compromised on that post All In, everything has cooled a bit. And I've said this for a while now, and it's the hardest thing to do. So I'm not saying it and like just throwing it away. God, you need a massive unstoppable star. You know, you need a Steve. There's that one spark, that one thing where it was like, how's everything else? It's okay. But their segment is just the absolute you cannot miss. Everyone gathers around the telly for that kind of thing. Like, I accept that the mechanisms have to be in place to create those. These are the opposite mechanisms to what creates that character. Like that character only really exists when you are sort of thinking carefully about how everybody is being promoted and how everybody is being used, and that's when people start to like latch on. It was happening with Kyle Fletcher earlier this year. As the Ospreay feud was like ongoing and he changed his look and he'd done all this, there was a movement behind him where it was like, well, stop everything for the Kyle Fletcher one, because that feeling of momentum is so thrilling. But it requires like competent, like boring stuff, but like organizational, like competence and like the booking infrastructure to create those terms for somebody. This was a textbook Dynamite that stood no chance of doing that. Again, Orange Cassidy was the one. Well, we got to gather around for the Orange Cassidy match. Yeah, he's here, but it's a hologram vehicle. Come on, like
So two of the biggest takeaways from this show is two of their big stars are going away for a bit.
Yeah, it was weird.
Should we get into it?
Get into it.
We hear from the world champion to start off with. Talks about Carl taking him to his absolute limit at All Out. He's still the world champion. But he can't wait to see what Carl accomplishes in the months and the years to follow. Nice, putting him over in defeat, obviously. But he wanted an open challenge tonight, and he's going to face Pittsburgh's best. That's Lee Moriarty, who's fighting for the greatest prize in pro wrestling tonight. And then we dive straight into our first title match of the evening. That was for the tag team titles. Brodito versus the Gates of Agony. Toleona and Bishop Khan of the Gates of Agony as part of the Demand. I don't know how this always works. But Ricochet was on commentary. And initially, Bandito gets isolated by Leona and Khan. Finally, though, he sidesteps a double team and gets the Brody King hot tag. He comes in, tries for a superplex, runs wild for a bit, but then tries for a superplex, gets put in a tree of woe, and Toleona hits a splash and a diving headbutt for a near fall as we go to a break. When we come back, Brody tries to make a comeback, but Khan stomps him down in the corner. Bandito gets attacked on the apron, and when Brody fights back and goes to tag Bandito and he's not there, he goes, oh well, I'll just hit a huge cannonball instead. All teams are down at this point. Bandito comes in, a bit of dancing for the mind games. Bishop Khan tries a blindside, but gets pressed over Bandito's head.
Can't control his feet.
And slammed onto Toleona in the corner. He wants the 21 plex, but Bishop Khan's made a blind tag, and Toleona just sits on Bandito, basically. There's locomotion corner splashes and an attempted double superplex, but Brody returns a double electric chair. Brody and Toa brawl around ringside, and Brody missed a crossbody against the barricade and gets sent into the timekeeper's area. The referee's distracted, and Ricochet comes in and tries to use a chair, but Aubrey Edwards catches him and chucks him out of there. In amongst all this, Bandito gets an inside cradle for two, and then suddenly it looks like Gates might have a chance here. There's a huge lariat. Gates of Agony hit open the gates, but then right at the last second, Brody King's recovered from on the outside, dives in to make the save. Toleona gets taken out by a tope by Brody King, and Bandito successfully hits the 21 plex on Bishop Khan to get the 1-2-3.
At the risk of sounding like a total hypocrite, right, considering I spend a decent chunk of time on these previews and reviews bemoaning, I know who's going to win that match, I know who's going to win that match, I know who's going to win this match. Wouldn't it be better if the matches were less predictable and wrestlers who each had a bit of momentum going for them were sharing the same ring? This actually happened. You've got the successful defending tag team champions against a team that had won at the pay-per-view. Do you
banged up after a ladder match as well?
Yeah. Do you do it on the next Dynamite though? Do you do this on the very next Dynamite? Because they've beaten the Herd Syndicate on Saturday. On Wednesday, they're just doing jobs again. I mean, it's if you had built this up, it's like, oh, they beat the Herd Syndicate, and oh, hang on, they've beat somebody else on Dynamite, and then you're doing the big match at wherever. Yeah, do it. It just felt like, what's the point of awarding them a win against no less a very, very protected unit? Mm-hmm. I know it was MVP, but a very, very protected unit in the Herd Syndicate. And then the very first thing you see them doing next is doing a job. It's just, that felt a bit wonky to me. So I felt like not the time to do it, but they did it. I will say, because the Demand had just won, I was thinking, I was like halfway interested, like, oh, surely they're not going to be Brodito this early, but, well, gee away. So I guess it worked in terms of I wasn't so sure they were going to do this, but they did it. Action-wise, there was a lot to like in this. I don't want to sound like an old man, even though I'm 40 years old and I'm feeling it. But, like, I like it when wrestlers do little things that you don't see and they time it really well. Bishop Khan and Bandito, I thought, worked really well together in the early going. Like, there was a point where, of all wrestlers, she never gets much praise. Soraya was really good at, the reason why you do the drop down isn't so people can jump over you. It's you're trying to trip them up. It's just one of those things where so many wrestlers over the years have just done it, and you think, all right, okay, well, this is the bit where they run over. Bishop Khan, his timing was like, I've got you, and then Bandito had to do this incredible bit of footwork to step over him. It felt like a really good struggle, a really, really well-timed struggle. And Bandito's Bandito. Like, there's a one point in every single match he wrestles where he does something where even this husk that I've become is blown away. Like the gorilla press slam on, was it Leona?
Yeah.
It doesn't matter. They're both massive. Onto Khan. Again, interchange those names, doesn't matter. Into the turnbuckle was quite incredible. Sadly, this kind of fell apart ever so slightly by the finish. There was some fluffed notes, which wasn't ideal because there was no time to recover because then you're doing the finish. But yeah, fine. Good. And then, fine.
Yeah, it's like, it's the best sustained TV run of Bandito's career. Continues to be this Brodito thing.
He's earned the hell out of it as well. The guy's incredible.
Not before time. And Brody King, likewise, we were saying, like, push him. And I don't think any of us expected as a tag team champion with Bandito, but it asked and answered this run, ultimately. So, you, like, in that respect, you can't complain, but watch me. You know, like,
Watch me.
Like, it's Liv Morgan. Like, you can't complain about Brodito because it is absolutely servicing. There was an obvious demand for Brody King to get a push and Bandito to get more TV time outside of the Ring of Honor title run. So it's happening. I did wonder.
You think, where did they come from?
Where did they go? I did think about that GOA Hurt Syndicate thing, and I think it is quite funny that, like, you found a way, like, to still politically undermine the one time you beat the Hurt Syndicate, and that's even when you put MVP, you still found another way to joblify them 3 days later. It's like, just be real clear, it didn't happen. So it was. It's just, that's a total coincidence, but based on top of the other ones, it's
a wider problem with Ricochet as well. To what extent am I investing in this guy?
Aye. Like, he's a guy that if you spend a month with him as, like, serious, scissors, awkward, dangerous guy,
He could headline against Hangman.
Page. Yeah, he's straight into that. But he's not, because he's not, and promotional issues and stuff like that.
He's just there now. He is kind of just there now. He's still really entertaining, but there was a point where I thought he could crack that bracket.
This wasn't the match where I thought to go and look at this. It wasn't the moment, should I say, on the show. But I'll mention it now, because I don't want to bury the thing that I liked later on. There was a notable lack of atmosphere for your Dynamite opener where, like, the cool wrestling is happening.
If I saw that, I tweeted this, mate. If I saw that lineup on Twitter in the hours before I was ready to make the drive or the commute, I would not be doing cartwheels either.
And I looked. I went and did I never do this. I went and did a bit of sleuthing. And there was like 4,000 last year in the same building, 2,000 this year.
For a marquee show, it should be mentioned.
Yes, it was the Dynamite 5th anniversary.
Oh, okay.
Same building. Yeah, fair comment that. So let's say even if 50% by the numbers, but let's cut that down a little bit because of the special occasion Dynamite last year. That's a drop off. So when, like, you talk about business and people get pissed off because you're like, ain't my money or stuff like that, or like, I don't care. I mean, I'm not a billionaire. I don't need to.
I'm paying $50. Give me 12 matches.
Yeah. I just want to enjoy the wrestling, actually. It's like, okay, but
I'll make some noise for them then.
Yeah, well, one of the reasons why the metrics get discussed is because it's as way as any. If you've got this argument, this subjective take that you don't think things are where they should be, and then a number, like, says that a lot of people agree with you about that subjective take, it bolsters the argument a little bit.
Your argument is sort of supported by
data.
Thanks.
You're not just having the argument in bad faith because it's like they did the thing that I don't like or something like that. You're actually saying, well, 2,000 people agreed with that take and like agreed by not investing financially or emotionally in the show. This is why Dave Meltzer reported ratings way back when. This is why they exist as part of our discourse. Yes, I'm not talking to anyone specifically down the lens, but I know some people get on us for that. We're not even, we aggregate it at best. But like, that's why it gets used in conversation. The things are related. They've always been related. Like the thing about, well, if only if it wasn't for the bad weather, you'd have sold that house.
The economy isn't great.
The economy's not great, yeah. Like, nope. Like, people drive through snow or go to the ends of the earth if there is something they want to go see and they've paid for the ticket. It is always as simple as that. And that's why you never take the excuses on Nick Khan, Canadian economy, whatever it was with Elimination Chamber. Bollocks. It's always bollocks. And I just, the low energy reacting to this wrestling is like, oh, well, good, vindicates my feelings, but also people need to understand why that's relevant, why it is relevant, and why it does matter.
Yeah.
Following this, we go backstage to Alicia Atu Friedman now, of course, with the Conglomeration. Mark. Exhalation to my right. Here we go.
AEW's top heel stable.
Mark Briscoe says he wanted Don Callis to bring his heavy hitters tonight. And Alicia wants to know who their partner's going to be. But Mark says the word of the day is mystery. No matter how hard you try to appeal or how hard you squeeze, I'm not going to tell you. I woke up today and asked myself, orange you glad? There's so many Conglomeration members to choose from.
It's like you were doing it.
That's why
It got more me as it went on here, Kyle O'Reilly.
He low played Peel as well.
Yes.
He threw that one away.
The future looks bright. So bright, in fact, maybe I should put on some shades.
You don't have to do that. You do not have to put your shades on.
And they all leave. And cool Kyle O'Reilly says, see you later, Jane. God, where's my mind, eh? Orange Cassidy. And then there was the evil hologram stuff, or whatever it is. One of the four.
Don't hurt me.
Sacrilege corner. I f***ing hate the Conglomeration, bro. I f***ing hate them.
Off corner.
I hate them so much, man. It was a nice, cool thing. Guess what? Mark Briscoe was so phenomenally talented that we have stumbled upon the idea that he has chemistry with literally everyone. Well, no shit.
Yeah.
Look at the incredible match catalog. Look, that he's got for decades. Considering how awesome he still inexplicably is, he could have one of the strongest match catalogs ever in pro wrestling. Ever. I'm not joking, ever. Look at what he's doing in 2003 to compare the MJF match. Has anyone been going that good for that long? Seriously, good. Now that Danielson's away.
No, yeah, like a very low key Mr. Consistently High Standard. Mm-hmm. But why is that low key? It's because of the push.
Yeah. So they discover, he's got chemistry with everyone, so people can conglomerate and join with them, right? God, he's been through a lot, and I do like him some of the time, a lot of the time. I hate Kyle O'Reilly in AEW. It's maybe maybe I'm the dickhead, right? He's gone through an awful, awful surgery and recovery process. Maybe he is just happy, and he faces challenges, doesn't need to wrestle. Yeah. The best of times with him being diabetic and stuff. So maybe I am the asshole here, right? But it's symptomatic of what AEW can sometimes be, where he's just sort of happy to be the dork in the background. And that's what the Conglomeration is. Hologram's just stood there. Willow Nightingale, who I will say ripped later on. She was awesome later on. They diminish her as this flanderized caricature of somebody wholesome. I'm so glad, by the way, that we got that Willow Nightingale segment later in the evening, because when she was just acting the dork, hey, we're all pumped up, enthusiastic losers who are wholesome and will support each other. I think you've flanderized her. You've made a caricature out of her, and I just hate them all together. And it's not just the Conglomeration. It's that vibe that it's like the Conglomeration verse.
Yeah, yeah.
Of I mean, I know she's over, so me, right? I'm literally wrong, but Holly Cameron's got that vibe as well. And it is slowly corrupted AEW, right?
Because it's always been there.
That's the thing. Here's the thing, right? It's really coming to the fore now, and it was neutralized way back when. Because look, this is the promotion founded by the Young Bucks. The Young Bucks are in that really uneasy space between they're not individually cool, but they know that and it works for them in the matches. But they were at the forefront of the coolest thing that has happened to US wrestling in since 2001, right? And Kenny Omega has got his dorky tendencies, and I say that as someone who thinks he's the best ever and my personal all-time favorite, right? I understand there's always been a dorky quality to AEW, right? But it was neutralized so often and so effectively. Eddie Kingston could be your guy in AEW. Jericho, who was dorky, neutralized by glass light tubes over his head by Nick Gage. CM Punk had that edge. Moxley, who's kind of becoming a cartoonish version of himself or involved in more heightened cartoonish scenarios. He was like your real graps guy. Danielson was, I'm just going to be the American Dragon and I can exist here. Over time, AEW's thing since 2019, whether it was a dorky a lot of the time, and I liked it a while ago, right? It was the cool thing. When I see the Conglomeration, I'm reminded brutally, this is not cool at all. It's so lame. Like the lame on purpose. Wilborn, you're sitting comfortably. When you are being lame on purpose, you're still lame. Kyle O'Reilly, I'm sorry. You've been through a lot. Whenever I see the Conglomeration on screen, it's not even necessarily fair on the individual performers. Maybe they want to do something serious and it's just Tony Khan telling them what to do, okay? I'm reminded, God, this is not cool anymore. God, when was the last time I felt like this is at the cutting edge of even the violence in AEW is rarely cool anymore. I love Anarchy in the Arena for what it is. I love it. It's Christmas. Do it every year. Do the same things. I love it. It's still not like true, proper pro wrestling violence. He did get the All in Texas main event, but there used to be that thematic identity about AEW. That's missing. That's gone. Over time, so much of this appeal has evaporated, and in its place, just a cloudburst of dork.
Yeah. Anti-promotional dork.
Yeah, it trivializes everything as well.
One of the things I love in cities, I'm a bridge guy. Right? I love bridges.
Why don't you support the tune?
Just as many perfectly nice ones in Sunderland, thank you very much. Including one that hasn't opened yet that I'm desperate to because I love bridges, right? Big bridges. I like that about Newcastle's River.
It's when you go over the flyover and that. I
go across that on the train bridge every day. I do like the bridges across the town. This is a big river. I don't need the romanticism, but it's nice. Yeah, bridges. I like bridges when I go to big cities, and I like walking across them for the views and all that. But I genuinely walk across bridges and marvel that they exist. I think it's kind of amazing that bridges are a thing, right? The work that goes into it. Imagine walking across a bridge once. That was fantastic. And somebody just comes up behind you and just levels it. And it's like, what? It's like, well, you're going to have to wait for the new one to be built now. That's like waiting for a Mark Briscoe push. It is so hard because they just normalize him. And then they get him up there again. Yes! And then coming up on Wednesday, we're leveling another bridge. For this to come off the back of that match with MJF, that feud with MJF, and which in itself was the rebuilding of a bridge, a Mark Bridgeco. See how easy I can trivialize things. I think it's promotional malpractice what they do with Mark Briscoe.
It is so forced, and it's a thing. It's like they fandangoed and flanderized Mark Briscoe.
And they'll get him. He's too good. They'll get him again. They'll build a bridge again, and it leveled. And it's just over and over again. Like a psychic. There's probably others that I'm leaving out here, but it's him that pisses me off the most with. It's him that it's why I get rankled by the Conglomeration the same way that Sidge does, because I look at this as the vehicle that drags him down, or the tone. It doesn't even need to be the stable. I'm not picking on the wrestlers.
It's not people, yeah.
The tone and the vibe drags him down, and every single time, as a force of nature that he is, he pulls himself back up, and you could make money, proper money off Mark Briscoe. And it's not cynical, it's not done negatively. but the organization is built in such a way to level him. And it shouldn't be that way. It should not be that way.
Yeah, it's just, it's this forced, wholesome, oh God, it gives me the ick. Like, it really does. It's like this promotion used to be on the cutting edge. It used to be cool. It used to know what was cool, what could be cool. The conglomeration, level it.
Yeah, if Carl Fletcher won on Saturday, there's no way we'd be having an argument if they turned around last night and went, Mark Briscoe's number one contender.
God, no. They'd be perfect.
Hangman Page, I don't know what's happened to him in the months all this, but you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Off the back of what he did to MJF, he was...
That's his ticket to the top.
Yeah. We'll get to it, because he's about, the fourth mentioned thing.
He might do something next week, but whatever. He hasn't. This is kind of the week to do it.
Also backstage, we've got the new AEW Women's Champion, Kris Statlander. She's hyped up by Harley Cameron's intro. Says she's pretty beat up, but she's a fighting champion. Why waste any time? She talks about Mina Shirakawa being a close personal friend to Timeless Tony Storm, of course. Says she loves Mina, not quite how Tony does, of course. And then Renee quite rightly asks her about her association with the Death Riders. And there's a big pause. And Stat says, things can move pretty fast when you make decisions, echoing Mox's comment, of course. But before we can really take that in, Cameron sort of breaks the tension by hyping up Statlander again and legging it out there.
I didn't think this was a good night for Kris Statlander at all. I don't know what they're doing with her character-wise, really. Like, I just get so confused by her presentation. And having a Conglomeration segment followed by Harley Cameron doing her thing that a lot of people love, by the way. So maybe I'm the miserable one. It just feels like a laugh. Feels like a laugh at work, doesn't it? When a lot of these characters are there. Isn't it this wonderful, wholesome vibe?
The Death Riders haven't gone away.
Yeah.
Like, we can laugh again. Like, they've not disbanded.
They were laughing the entire time when that's part
That's
of the
true,
problem.
actually,
That's part of the problem with the
That's
Death
fair,
Riders is that the tone was all over the place. And like they were just laughing even then. And then I'm thinking, yeah, people should take it seriously. You're a combat athlete. Watching Harley Cameron be Harley Cameron and all that entails, like back to back after the Conglomeration, I was just like, God, I need some gravity. God, I need some violence. God, I need something to invite me into this world. Didn't get it. Like, I'm
You saying gravity in that top just made me think, forget me not.
Oh, God.
That's what it flashed through my...
In Tony Khan, a month before doing Wembley, decided to do a meme match. But I was just like, God, this is it's lame. AEW at times, too often, in this case, immediately after itself, just felt so lame. Don't buy even the non-lame characters in this world particularly anymore as well. We'll get to that in the main event.
What we got next was a world title match. Hangman Adam Page versus the pure champion of Ring of Honor, Lee Moriarty. Did a nice little package for Lee to showcase his skills. And Danielson also put over Moriarty in commentary, talking about how he's beaten people like Nigel McGuinness and Blue Panther and what have you. And there was a sort of back and forth early on between the two of them. Moriarty dodges a sliding lariat, but Page catches a leapfrog into a body slam and hits a big boot to take us to a break. When we come back, Moriarty fires up and connects with a big flying forearm. Home crowd obviously with him. They trade some forearms, big back body drop from Hangman Page. Fall-away slam, kip up, Death Valley driver. But Moriarty counters the Deadeye into an octopus stretch and then gets the Border City stretch as well. But Page rolls out, tries for a Deadeye again, and then nails Moriarty with a huge lariat and hits the Deadeye to get the 1-2-3 and, of course, retain his title.
This unfolded exactly as it should have. If you were going to do this match, I wouldn't have done this match. When was the last time Lee Moriarty won on television? Yes, I understand that he's... Full button!
It's time to play the game! Time to play the game! Ha 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 ha!
When was the last time Lee Moriarty won on television?
Tag or singles?
I mean,
You got to give him 20 minutes to work out cage match now.
Yeah. Here, right, while he does that, think about this.
Oh.
Right, I maintain it's a nice thing for AEW to do to send the home crowd happy and da-da-da-da-da-da, right? It's like you got to do it with someone more established or build towards it. Like they used to structure their shows around a wrestler on the way to getting a big win because they've been pushed when they used to do these wonderful things that were yet another promotional advantage over like a downright nasty and alienating WWE of the era. Like Ricky Starks, who had been weekly an incredible TV fixture upon debuting whenever he did in 2020. In 2021, they go to Texas, which is like he's got like two sort of hometowns, hasn't he? From where he's been a lot of his life to where he was born and raised and whatever. And they built a big win for him at one of those first 2021 shows. Yeah. Like that's just one example off the top of my head.
Rally towels?
Yeah.
They were like, hang on, we've been told this is a cold town all our lives.
Like CM Punk once said, like, God, like, you know how to make a man feel like Britt Baker in Pittsburgh. They used to do such a good job of this. This was just such hacky, like, beg stuff, this. They begged the crowd to get behind Moriarty. The match in itself was worked to a decent standard, and it told the correct story, and it made sense in that Moriarty didn't do particularly well going throw for throw with Hangman, so he decides to draw on his technical acumen, come up with clever counters to Page's stuff to then grind him down with his superior technique in terms of submissions. But then Hangman ultimately is the world champion for a reason, knocks his head clean off. Really cool lariat, Deadeye victory. Didn't your guy do well? And not from Pittsburgh. I didn't necessarily get the love from Pittsburgh for Moriarty because it kind of wasn't there to the extent you'd hope for that kind of thing. They hadn't built Moriarty on TV ahead of, like, the best thing about pro wrestling is that, well, one of the best things about it is that you can infer. It's the CM Punk in Chicago thing, right? You like, it gets a bit lame for me, but when I liked it, it's like, yeah, I'm not from Chicago, but I know what it's like to have like an Alan Shearer. Yeah. Just last night, Newcastle United, by brave defense, we are now trying to. It's in the coat of arms, mate.
All right, okay. I thought you just come up with like a phrase to sort of describe smashing Bradford at home.
By brave defense, we are now trying to hold on to the League Cup that we captured last year. And we've got a 19-year-old central midfielder who a lot of fans are a little bit like, can he make the grade? Maybe a touch slow for the intensity of the league. And yes, it's only League One opposition, but the top of that league. So that's kind of like the championship if you think about it. And he just played a blinder. And you're like, yes, bloody Lewis Smiley. I want one of our own, want him to come good. You can give me that feeling even if it's someone from an ocean away if you build it. And I can identify with that feeling of like, I mean, I'm not from Pittsburgh, but I'm from
a Pittsburgher.
But I can relate to that feeling. So I can get swept up in the sentiment. Cold as ice match. Cold as ice crowd. They got into it a bit. But here's the thing. I don't think there's ever been an AEW crowd, right? This gets me on to the next thing. There's never been an AEW crowd that I can recall vividly. What was the WWE crowd in 2018 or 2019? That famous, like, when you can't even hear a red piss on car.
Was it? It wasn't Little Rock.
Lafayette.
Yeah.
And it was like, it was particularly quiet by 2019.
They did a Pat McAfee video like, come on, you assholes.
Why don't you make some goddamn noise for this slap that you're going to get told you're wrong about in a week?
Speak up, dickheads. Enjoy your
Yeah.
I'm Pat McAfee. See you later.
Yeah.
That was the video.
I don't think there's ever been an AEW crowd that has reacted as like the 2019 WWE arena going public, turning up going, yeah, the Fed's been better, but it's in town. We can take the little kiddies along. Let's go and watch a show. Arms folded. What the f*** is this? I am baffled. Like, I don't know how to react, so I'm just going to sit here. Never have there ever been like that But my God, this is one of the most muted AEW crowds ever.
Yeah.
And as I said, maybe you build Moriarty on TV week to week to week ahead of, and this is what they used to do when it was better, past tense. And as I said, like, people from all around the world could, like, get into it because they can relate to the feeling. They didn't do nothing.
You could have put him on a 3-match run, culminating in a big win last week that we've not once suspected was up to much other than a mini push, and then him cut a promo saying next week Dynamite is in Pittsburgh, and I'm calling my shot. Whoever wins that world title, if you're brave and bold enough, will you give me a shot in front of my hometown people? That would have been like 3 wins. 3 fairly pedestrian Lee Moriarty wins on TV for him to justify cutting that promo, and Tony Khan, enthusiastic wrestling fan, come promoter going, okay.
And then you get a crowd who start to believe in their guy a little bit. And then you get the intended reaction was guy gives everything, hometown crowd make loads of noise for him, adore him. And then, because there's no real chance even then that he's going to win the match, but he looks competitive in it. He feels over, and then he can go somewhere else with him. As opposed to after this, what do you do with Lee Moriarty after this? Well, no way, nothing.
Depends on your parameters here, boys. Obviously, getting lots of wins on Ring of Honor.
No, well, that's on TV.
No
one watches it.
Won at Death Before Dishonor, defended the pure title, obviously.
That's what annoys me as well. Like when, he's done some great work on Ring of Honor. I don't think you realize how little Tony Khan cares about it, but that's a different story.
You want singles match on television?
Yep.
Seems reasonable.
I might not have ever won one.
His last...
If it's Collision and Dynamite, and it is... Because it can't be Rampage. I remember when he won on Rampage, a show that was cancelled. When was it cancelled?
2023, I think.
There's some news for you, brother. Last win as a group was on AEW television. Was... I found this earlier. 1st of March, Shane Taylor Promotions defeats Dave Dutra, Nick Ruiz, and Vinny Mazzaro in a minute and 20 seconds. Lost a few, triple threats, 4-ways, and what have you. I may have got this wrong, so apologies if I did. The last, if you're not including Dark and Dark Elevation, that's not television.
No, it's not television.
Okay.
And these shows haven't existed for what might as well be at this point 5 years.
Last televised thing that I can find, and I'm just skimming through it, so apologies if I got this wrong, was Rampage, 28th of September 2022, beat Fuego del Sol. Better news, in the Liquor Center in Philadelphia. So not all bad.
Hold on to that. I'm going to say something nice about this.
So basically when he goes to Pennsylvania, he gets something, and then for 2 years he gets nothing except Ring of Honor. Oh, that's crap, man.
I've said this before. Hangman Page is a better Bret Hart than CM Punk, and that's weird, isn't it? I've been consistent on this point, going back to Hangman's original run. I think I'm into this. There's a run, and it, funnily enough, includes the Shawn Michaels World Champion versus IC Champion match at Survivor Series 92, which the Hangman Kyle Fletcher match was compared to. They put it over on television that you could watch. This was pre-Raw. You could watch your Superstars and your Challenge and your Saturday Night's Main Event, and what you're going to find? You're going to find Bret Hart defending the title. He defends it against Virgil, the Berserker, and Papa Shango in a run-up to defending it against Shawn Michaels. And I mean, it's Virgil, Papa Shango, and the Berserker. He ain't losing none of them. But the idea is, they make that little video package when Gene Oakland's presenting the package in the event.
The package.
It was this man is the most fightingest champion. They're doing it because Hogan's nowhere in sight. The most fightingest champion of all time. Can he keep going with this schedule? And the idea is that they can see Yokozuna on the horizon, and it's how is the fightingest champion going to go up against this
movable object
in Yokozuna? And Hangman Page is the fightingest champion. It's a far cry from when I know he went 60 with Bryan, how his run felt. The reflections on his run, that first run with the title, they've addressed that week after week after week after week. This man's the fightingest champion. Promote him as such. Promote that, because at the moment, you're not, I can't see.
Would you take business lessons from late 92 Fed?
Well, that was going to be my next point. It didn't drow. So there's like it's a difficult playbook to justify because it didn't draw. But there's nothing wrong in your babyface champion being the fightingest champion. But I also need to see the immovable object. Like, and that's why I was fan casting the Pac thing, and I was trying to put him back in the orbit of the Death Riders because they're kind of immovable a bit. I mean, you moved him.
I pitched Jericho yesterday.
Like, look, it has to go somewhere. It has to be the fightingest champion, and to maybe like have a schedule that you'll turn up in Pittsburgh and you'll fight the Pittsburgh guy. You'll turn up on the pay-per-view and you'll fight the next big thing in Carflet. Like, you will turn up to work and defend your belt. I think is great championship booking, but there's got to be something underpinning it all. There's got to be is Hangman Page going too hard here, and is somebody going to capitalize? Like, it's a good one for the MJF.
That was the difference with the Orange Cassidy reign.
Perfect.
Like taped up more.
Yeah, like the fight again. That's a much better example because that was at a time where like it felt like that
It was the highlight of the promotion.
Highlight of the promotion. It ultimately draws a pay-per-view buy rate at All Out for the Jon Moxley payoff. Like, it was always in service of something bigger, and at the moment I'm just not seeing, because of the lack of promotion, what this is in service of, other than the preservation of Hangman Page World Champion. Important job. Like, they're not. The grass is greener where you water it. The water in the grass with Hangman Page. But it does need to sort of be in service of something bigger, and it doesn't really feel like it is.
No.
He's just kicking around. But he's doing the right, his character's in good health. The world title is in good health. It's the opposite to Jon Moxley locking it in a box. But it doesn't feel, what's the word I'm after? It doesn't feel vital, does it?
No.
Hangman Page doesn't feel vital. You're just glad that he's the one holding on to the belt.
Tell you who's not in good health. Beth Copeland. We see backstage comments all out from Cope, but he can't talk right now. He storms into the dressing room. Christian Cage is icing his neck because he took a spike pile driver as well, of course. And Cage asks Cope, "What are we doing?" And he's like, "I don't know if I can do this anymore, to be honest. It's interfering with my family. I've got to go and be with them. That kind of takes priority. I don't know when or if I'm going to be back." And nice moment, Christian Cage says, "Well,
It's a job.
You go and take care of your family.
Signed the contract.
I haven't got a family anymore." And Cope says, "That's not true, you do." And they shake hands. And Cope leaves to go and tend to his wife. And we're going to hear from FTR in a second.
God. He's always taking these breaks, isn't he?
He is. This is sort of what I'm asking for, though. I know it's Cope, and I know it's like...
You're the only one.
I'm not asking... Yeah, I'm asking for less Cope on telly. Ramifications. Like, this is actually what I'm calling for. Like, you bought the pay-per-view on Sunday. They're every bloody month now. Like, but the whole point of the old AEW pay-per-view model was that, like, you kind of miss it. What do you mean you're not going to pay $50? Everything's happening there. You'd be stupid to miss
everything changes after.
And it's going to mean something on the following Dynamite.
It's the end of the world. It's the rapture.
Yeah, it's the rapture.
But then obviously it doesn't happen.
Like, if you're not inside the house of the jealous lovers that is
he's
AEW.
never going to.
I didn't know about this until after it happened. I was like, "What do you mean the world's meant to end?" I remember the 2012 one, but...
Yeah, I just, like... It's Cope, so it's not a popular thing, but, like, more of the show should be a bit of this. Yeah. We get another one later on.
Yes.
But, yeah, it's fine. It's just a program that most people don't like, so maybe, like, oh, bugger. Like,
I'm telling you, it used to be better. It used to be better.
I think we all like Came Next, though. FTR are out to explain their actions. Tony Schiavone's talking about how heinous their actions were, the most disgusting thing he's ever seen, the spike pile driver to Beth Copeland.
He's got the old WCW hyperbole hat back on, hasn't he, Tony? Like, greatest night in the history of our sport, most disgusting thing I've ever seen. He just can't say out now, isn't he?
I know.
Like, that's
was the worst thing I've ever seen. Just say one off. Yeah. Or just say it was horrible what you did. Come on.
When I was like, when Jack Perry punched Tony Khan and he died on the spot. So was that as well.
I mean, I know you're taking the piss because that angle was terrible.
But it was, yeah.
Which I called at the time, and people were trying to bargain for that as well.
Come with receipts, I like it.
They were. I'll retweet it. Like, you can't just say these things. Like, the announcers cannot lose their credibility, which has happened quite a lot. It's a good job they got Danielson because he's going to have his for a while. And it's Danielson, I don't think he'll ever lose it. But you can't just say stuff. I understand you have to sell stuff, but you can't just say stuff neither. You have to just be careful with it. Like, "I was horrible what you did." Yeah, it was.
On Danielson, this was the second week. It was funny last week when, was it Callis? And it was like, oh yeah. And Danielson was like, I know, yeah, I wrestled him. Like it was
Hechicero.
yeah.
Sorry, who?
Hechicero!
Like, it happened again.
You gotta laugh.
Like with, I think it was Moriarty, but like Excalibur was like, what? Like, what? How would you sort of get around this challenge? And it's like, you know, what would you do if you're wrestling? And Dash is like, I wrestled him. Like, is there a bigger picture where it's like, if your Bryan Danielson matches get forgettable, you're sticking on too much wrestling?
Yeah, probably.
Excalibur, the guy that like remembers all the wrestling in AEW. Like that's 2 weeks in a row that somebody's like, what would be like wrestling him? What, you mean the time I did in front of your very eyes when you were calling it?
Yeah.
Like
Oh, yeah.
it's its own little sort of...
No, it's too much wrestling.
But Cash Wheeler says, you know what?
What would it be like if you locked up with Nigel McGuinness?
Darby Allin, they're trying to suffocate John Moxley. I mean, Brian, can you imagine what that must be like?
Saying the word yes. What might that be like?
Anyway, Cash Wheeler says, look, hey, hands up. Deserve all the booze that we're getting. It's never our intention, okay, to do all that. We wanted to end Copeland's career, obviously, and send him into retirement. But he didn't like that. And then he brought his childhood mate, and then he brought his wife and got involved. It's kind of his fault we dropped his wife on a micro brawler head. So, is that okay?
It's good stuff, that, by the way.
Stoke gets the mic. This is going to go well. Says, I forgive Beth Copeland for what she did to me at All Out. I wasn't running up the ramp to attack Beth Copeland. I was going to shake her hand. She speared me. Didn't hurt. I was going to kip up, but got carried to the back, didn't I?
He's found himself, hasn't he?
Yeah, he's nailed it.
After years of, God, why is he good on Twitter and not in real life? They've found it.
This act.
Yeah.
I actually allowed Beth to spear me, so they say chivalry's dead. You saw me.
Kip up.
That's
Instead of
great,
just get
that.
back to my feet.
Yeah.
Kip up.
Whip.
You needed Beth to win the match, and she didn't even work here. And Dax Harwood's like, I'm not going to apologise for dropping Cope and Cage on their CTE-riddled brains. I will to Beth Copeland. Now, be fair, she punched me in my broken nose. Watery eyes. Get here, Cope. Oh, it's bloody Beth, isn't it? Didn't realise. I would never put my hands on a woman. I mean, granted, it's Beth Copeland. It's a very loose term, that. Willow Nightingale comes out and says, if you wrestle as good as you like, maybe you'd have won at the weekend. But I want to talk about Beth Copeland. She inspired me. She's why I became a wrestler. She's why I came back from a broken neck to win the TBS title, to win the Owen Hart tournament. Don't take you-know-what from guys like you as a result of her. Maybe try and apologise with more sincerity or get out of my ring. And Stokes like, isn't it past your bedtime? Shouldn't you be at home? Willow slaps him. Jet speed, get in there. FTR, fake leaving. Try a cheap shot, but gets super kicked. And FTR have to save Stoke from getting his ass handed to him. Great segment.
Fantastic segment, this. There's actually one more thing that I thought was fantastic. So 2 fantastics. See, even the mediocre AEW shows, and this was, come on, have fantastic things on them. So good for them. Like, I also understand, right, that Willow Nightingale's line here, where it's like, what did she say? That incredible line about Beth Phoenix.
Like a woman like her
Told me
like
that I
me.
shouldn't take shit from a guy like you. Incredible line. Well delivered. I get it. I understand that line isn't anywhere near as effective if Willow doesn't ordinarily play happy-go-lucky. You have to do something bad to piss me off. You've done something bad. You've pissed me off. I'm going to articulate that, and it's completely out of character.
Yeah.
I understand that line doesn't work if Willow isn't the wholesome happy-go-lucky. You can still flanderize and exaggerate and make a caricature of that character, which they're in danger of doing. I do think Willow, well, like only slightly less than most people in terms of how much I really think she can be the next Tony Storm or Mercedes top star, but whatever. Like, I really think that she's thing about this conglomeration crap is that they're all probably bulletproof from it when they go on to do their next things. It's just I shouldn't have to suffer it, and it diminishes them. And it diminishes them exactly because of segments like this where Willow Nightingale was unbelievable. And as I said, like Stokely Hathaway, we've had this like, it was like before we gave it a name, Stokely Hathaway was one of our original
Don't hurt me.
Sacrilege Corner guys, because me and Hamflet have had like chats of like, he's not as good as he is on Twitter, is he?
Yeah.
He has the odd good line, but then sometimes it's not so great and doesn't really get these acts over that he's been sort of off and on partnered with. They were all right with or without him.
Like Diamond Mine back in the day.
Yeah.
This is a consistent thing now going back years.
Where he's,
He was used to like, there was a thing with like cassette tapes when he was the NXT. It was like, is there a sign of life in the Patacorda Performance Center? Never translated as a Diamond Mine. Same in AEW.
That bloke who looked like a Jack Simon Pegg, didn't they? In Diamond Mine, remember that?
Anyway, FTR didn't need him, but my God, what a glorious fit! What a glorious fit they are together. I thought this was hilarious in the way that I still thought they were dicks. Like, just perfect. Like, this is an excellent, excellent segment of TV. Kind of half sucks that they've done Jet Speed FTR already, and it went long because, of course, it did. It's FTR. If that was like a real breeze of it, this is why I talk. This is what I talk about when I talk about long matches, mostly for the sake of Critical Acclaim and the idea of being the wrestling company. If FTR Jet Speed won, which you think, right, it's the first one. Increasingly, we're doing rematches here. It was like a real breezy, urgent, snappy 9 minutes. God, I could go for that again. That was awesome.
Oh, no, it's finished.
Yeah. You never get that feeling ever, really. You'd be like, oh, they're revisiting it now with actual depth and story. That's how it should work, but steps on his dick.
I might be overthinking a detail here, but I love this segment, for all the reasons Sid just outlined there. On Willow Nightingale, I thought it was interesting.
Where were the Conglomeration saving her, by the way? What the are Kyle O'Reilly and Roderick Strong doing?
Too busy having shakes at the Max or something. Like, just hanging out, like, buddying out.
To be fair, they were probably, standing at Gorilla as their matches next.
Oh, yeah. That's where they were.
You're right. It's spot on.
So, like, on Willow Nightingale, I thought it was interesting that they created a very believable link and a bond and a kinship between Willow Nightingale and Beth Copeland. Had Willow Nightingale referenced that inspiration drove her to win a tournament on the night that women's tag belts were unveiled, because I immediately raced to them two as a tag team, and FTR of all teams not sanctioning that them two can hold tag belts and screwing them out in the tournament when it comes around. Like,
that would be good stuff.
That's like out of nowhere, Willow Nightingale is basically introduced us to an entire law that would justify them being in the women's tag title tournament that an FTR could, and that's what teases Cope back, because they screw like they don't put their hands on women, but they've just spike pile drove Willow Nightingale to screw them out of winning the title. Something, you know what I mean? Like those could easily be threaded together.
Yeah.
We also got post all-out comments from MJF, covered in blood and tacks and sat on the stairs, feeling very sorry for himself. He's so angry, but he doesn't have the energy to yell anymore. Not long ago, he was the biggest name in wrestling. Then Adam Cole came into his life, broke his ankle, Cole's ankle, obviously, and then broke MJF's heart. Then he lost his world title, lost his mojo. No, he still accomplished more than anyone could dream in this time frame, but something's missing. He's just playing MJF. He's made too many mistakes, creating doubt after doubt. The tax in his body are doubts, and he can't come back until he can look himself in the mirror and not see a fraud, says MJF. Ospreay, Swerve, Hangman, they were once in his dust, but now he's in theirs, and he won't come back until he's the most dangerous he's ever been. He pulls a tack out of his arm, chews it and saying there's times where he bit off more than he could chew, but he ate it up and spit it out, and that's what he does with the tack. But he's going to come back and do things the only way he knows how, whether you like it or not. Maui, his way.
I thought this was fantastic.
I'm scared when he comes back.
And I thought the timing of it was absolutely incredibly inspired, right? So he articulates what people have who want AEW to succeed and who value and appreciate what MJF has really tried hard to do this year, and that has become MJF again. And there was the feeling of, oh, he's back. Oh, not quite. That didn't work. And he himself says, sometimes I bite off more than I can chew, which is, I think subtext for, probably shouldn't be setting people on fire backstage in quite a hokey segment. He's a creative guy who makes these big swings. Delivery, it's MJF. It's a 9 every time. But a lot of times it's a 10. People take that for granted as well. What I loved about this. Oh, before I forget as well, he just does an incredible job of putting 3 people over in one segment. Just reminding you, I know I'm behind them. I know when you're doing your lineage of next champions, they're probably there and I'm not. So he puts people over at the same time as this, right? He also does what I've been begging a heel, or MJF specifically, to do for a long time. I understand, and I get this. It must be a hard audience to work in front of when they've been conditioned to, and a lot of them seem to still like the banger, the great match, the 40-minute epic, right? Is that he might have 2 years ago, right? 2 years ago, when he was feeling very much like he had something to prove, he was gotten to when people said, oh, he's not very good in the ring, great on the mic, and he has overcompensated, I think. Like, the byproduct of doing that is these incredible matches, some of them, or like most of them, with his beyond motivation level, right? But then he would talk too much after the fact of like, say, I am great, I can have these great matches. And he got sucked into the thing that betrays his character. He was like, I don't even want to work matches, and I will win them by any means necessary. And then if anything, I reckon he should have made his performances deliberately a little bit boring, or just milking just chin locks and stuff at times. He got too caught up in the people like good matches, and I can do them as well.
The best ever dog collar match.
Yeah, the best ever, this, and this. And then, like, I loved the Ospreay match at Wembley. I was there. It helped. But the first one felt very much like the nadir of, and the guy is so talented that I can have an hour-long 5.5 Meltzer match with Ospreay. Watch me. He did, but he shouldn't have done it, in my opinion. Anyway, what I loved about this is that he has said those words, right? 2 years ago, he might have said, he's seen the weekend I've just had, right? He did the opposite, right? He's had this unbelievable weekend where, I know MJF, he's like any wrestler, he's got his detractors and his critics. There are certain like ball-knowing losers on Twitter who I've seen who've actually praised him. Like, he has unified people who love his work and people who are a little bit, is he that good really, or does he do too much? The matches against Mystico and Mark Briscoe back-to-back, incredible. Both very different matches as well. Similarities in terms of how good they were, but you couldn't ask for like a different one. In terms of like, you would play Stooge and like that revolting dickhead, like really over the line against Mystico, and then showed ass and took these incredible flailing bumps for these unbelievable Mystico moves. And then with Mark Briscoe, it's just this attritional, you deserve it ass kicking,
And he did a great video about this on the main channel, about talking about that weekend.
Yeah,
check out.
An unbelievable weekend. MJF of 2 years ago, probably feeling the pressure of the biggest spot in wrestling, not like that's outside of WWE. He might have felt the need to brag about that. To inform his character going forward, he did the exact opposite here, and he treated it like, I lost 2 matches. What am I really? He didn't say, I performed incredibly well in 2. Well, one match people are saying is a classic, right? And the other one was one of the best matches on a excellent, at times, the highlight of an AEW pay-per-view, which is no small feat whatsoever, right? And then he's gone, who am I? It's because he's lost matches. It was just perfect, this. I thought it was absolutely perfect. And because he showed a bit of contrition and a little bit of like just, self-effacing, honest with himself, part of me thought, is he going to wait for a while and come back as a babyface? Which, to me...
Still got a title shot.
That's the thing as well. That's the last thing I was going to say, is that even if the seed was the seed was planted of, hang on, he's being very honest with himself. And he's going to say he's going to come back dangerous. But this was so like, oh God, didn't expect this from MJF. I've now stopped thinking, oh, I can't invest that much in this Hangman program because MJF's probably going to win it next. So everyone else is like sort of, yeah, you're the challenger before we get to MJF. I just thought this is really, really strong on a lot of levels.
Yeah, so just covered everything there really, but for me this was like 100-foot high letters of, do you see rest of the roster? What can happen if you actually sell the consequences of something?
Yeah.
Like this was probably not the night for this to stick out compared to everything else in the way it did. As like that was the thing that jumped out to me as well. It was like the results of the two big matches at the weekend did not go your way, and they didn't go your way while you were sort of bathed in your own arrogance. So that's like a double loss, really. Yeah. You were the purest version of yourself, and you were defeated twice. Like, and it was that mattered. It was like it was the most sort of robust protection of the universe of a wrestling company, like in this promo. It's interesting that you mentioned about the baby. That was going to be my criticism of it, but I've changed my mind listening to Sidge there. My criticism was going to be, maybe this is not even true, maybe the stats don't bear this out, but watching this, I feel like we've had a few too many of these, I'm going to have to go away and come back and find myself MJF moments over the last few years. Maybe we've not, but this promo made, like...
He kind of has to do something like it.
Yeah. Like, it put me in the mind of the Triple H double jacket, the tattoo gets gone, like the goes away, you know, that like...
He's done it a few times.
But to be fair, like the way that you've kind of phrased that makes me think, well, yeah, but why not, I suppose.
What are you laughing at?
You, the other day, as it pertains to me being a square.
I've never seen a physique like it.
It's incredible.
It's almost as if it's like, it's just not natural to be like that.
Be weird, that, wouldn't it? Yeah. That was it. The idea about him turning babyface, I still think there's a large portion of the audience that sends shivers. What? We all go through doors sideways, right?
I've lost 6 rolls of wallpaper.
I'll carry the shopping. Ain't nothing. Nothing to the game. How big is it? This big, I swear.
I'm no longer the hunted. I am the scales, it looks like. That looks like a pair of scales.
I am the game, or at very least the board.
Big, thick, and the shopping only ever takes one trip.
I don't know what to say about
that picture of Triple H is a square.
I don't know what to say about him.
I have to stare at it for hours whenever it appears on my timeline.
Yeah, you just got to look at it, haven't you?
I love that clip.
Really try to get that pose over as a babyface thing, didn't he? He would like...
Can you imagine people in the audience loving him so much that they're willing to separate their shoulders? It's like no one likes you that much, mate.
Everybody's doing it. Everybody's doing it.
Quick, take off that T-shirt you're not wearing.
I always remember...
It's such a weird clip, then.
Scott Keith, Sidge.
He's on it. He's not listening now. He's just doing it.
That's all right.
He's helmsing out.
He's balling out.
Gaming out.
Scott Keith, a bit of a forefather of this business. Those who know will know when he used to say in all caps, remember, kick, wham, stunner. And then Triple H added the kicking green. He was like, oh, awesome. Actually, thanks very much. I'm kind of better than Stone Cold in a way. But so he was kick, wham, pedigree for a bit whenever he would do his review. Scott Keith, kick, wham, pedigree, whatever. And you watch it and it's like, oh yeah, he has just stuck the boot in the chest, just like Steve Austin does. Then he comes back as a babyface in 2002 and it's kick, wham. Wrestler just has to sell folded over it. He's still posing like a square. I'm selling for a fucking pedigree here and he hasn't put his legs around me yet. I remember the MJF point. It made me wonder, because I was like, oh yeah, maybe there's, yet again, MJF has added a layer where you could justify a babyface run, and that's going to send shivers up some people because of 2023. But when you think about it, the execute the contract stipulation as it now is more of a babyface thing than a heel one. John Cena cashed in on CM Punk in 2011 with a week's notice. That's what a good guy would do. That's now, like, it's hard to orchestrate the heel one, isn't it? Like I've said, MJF doing it basically needs to be while Hangman Page has been wheeled into an ambulance. By the way, cowboy, 7 days. Like, you best get yourself off the stretcher. Otherwise, it's hard as a heel to be a bad guy and do it. But the babyface version, I'd
Well, it's just a thought.
I'd like my shot, please.
It was
Like,
just a thought,
no, very good.
but I'm glad that I had it.
Should be more wrestlers that pretend it's real. Remember that?
Right, the Don Callis family are in the ring, and Don
Speaking
says
of.
he's not only a world-class manager, but a world-class painter. And they're showing his past paintings on the screen. And he's been painting for the last 6 days and nights, and he's going to unveil his masterpiece. It's so big, they got to roll it out. And all the all the great artists are going to be rolling over in their graves, and out it comes. And there's a thing over it, and the curtain is pulled off. But wait a second, the painting's been destroyed and stood in its place. It is a returning Orange Cassidy. How do you want to do this? Because there's this, and then there's the...
I'm going to bury this first.
Okay.
It's actually, in spite of myself, in a mood. There's one sequence in this match where I'm like, run that back as a singles now. Like, next week on Dynamite, preferably. Right. As it pertains to WWF Raw 1998, okay, I've been on it. I've been falling asleep to it before I get my ass upstairs to bed, right? It's an incomplete record on the Netflix vault because there are certain things that you can't put on Netflix. They put the most disturbing true crime documentaries imaginable, chronicling with social media footage of the killer interacting with the family, right, that he ends up murdering across social media, clips stitched together, harrowing stuff. The stuff on 1998 Raw that they can't put on.
You ain't lying.
Right.
It's got 20 episodes.
Yeah.
I've done the math calc and trigger. I believe there's 52 weeks.
yeah. So, right. It's not in chronological order. It's like 1998, why not? What was I like? Bloody 13 years old. Oh, that's it. Vile. And I've had some fun with Triple H, laughing at him, all the rest of it. So I'm watching this, and it's Austin versus McMahon. McMahon comes out, Mr. McMahon, as Gerald Briscoe would call him. And he's like, well, it's when he's doing the better version of the character, where he's still... They're doing propaganda. The WWF's great. Austin's bad. Not like We're the Evil Owner, where he just kind of starts admitting it. And he's like, he comes out.
It's the only time that story makes a lick of... Austin
Yeah.
is making him gazillions. Everyone's in Austin. But he just doesn't like him as a person.
He just
And he's
doesn't
trying
like
to
him as a
hide that. He's
person.
trying to pretend it's corporate.
He's just
For
trying to...
one time, that makes sense.
He's hiding behind the veil where he's doing propaganda for the WWF before he comes out and just outright says, I am evil. When it's great early doors, it's, I'm great, and I'm standing in this. The World Wrestling Federation has been an institution of, the wrestling and all the rest of it.
Last World Champion was Shawn Michaels.
Yeah. But he's coming out and he says, unfortunately, I hate to be the bearer of bad news. And then, like, months later, I hate you, and all the rest of it. But he's playing the role of the guy who's meant to be doing a nice job for you. Unfortunately, there will be no Stone Cold Steve Austin this evening. He is suspected to have a concussion. So for the benefit of himself, to save him from himself, he will not be appearing on television tonight. Obviously, Austin's like, well, I'm going to kick some ass, get in the building. So he's trying to get in the building, and there's a security guard who won't let him. This pertains to the Orange Cassidy stuff, okay? Meanwhile, Jerry Lawler is trying to bring someone in to get revenge on Austin as well, isn't it? Or who is it?
No, but
The Undertaker.
No. I don't want to spoil it for you because I know you're going to change.
But for reasons, Jerry Lawler is bringing someone into the building.
Yeah.
Okay. Under a cloak. And it's just so stupid, but it worked on me when I was 13 and when I was 40 alike. Okay. 27 years, and I was like, well, what's under there then? There's
a gabbo under there.
It's ridiculous. It's a guy just under a red cloak being led around backstage by Jerry Lawler. And I'm like, I was watching this so I could have just some beam nostalgia into my head. Oh, it's comforting enough to send me to sleep, okay? And now I'm like, Leonardo DiCaprio, who's Jerry Lawler dragging around under that cloak? And, yeah...
2025.
What does Jerry Lawler not want me to see? Yeah?
This isn't any good because I was going to turn over a Nitro, but now...
But, like, what does Jerry Lawler not want me to see? Anyway, and I'm like, well, who's under there? I need to see this. In spite of myself, I eventually fall asleep, but I'll be coming back later. I've forgotten, and I need to know who it is. Right? Who's under there? Right? What about if they don't allude to Orange Cassidy ever at All Out, and then Kyle O'Reilly doesn't do his incredible, like the player up, like, I wonder who it could be. It's like, I want wonder. Don't trivialize and don't irony pill the sense of wonder. I would like to feel it when I'm watching television every week, okay? What if they just don't mention it, don't allude to it? In my head, the way I'm trying to do the alternative way of doing it, I don't know what you do with the match graphic, okay? Like the Conglomeration.
You just did the Conglomeration versus the Don Callis family.
Yeah.
Was the whatever put on the pay-per-view to sell some tickets?
Yeah. Probably, yeah.
Like, they're telling you, come on, get yourself over because you know.
Yeah.
You know,
Get loads of wrestlers over and tell really compelling stories and then sell tickets as a byproduct of doing that, okay?
I was going.
I'm not joking.
No, I was going option A with Orange Cassidy, but option B is solid.
It's
I will give you that.
pretty solid. It's pretty solid.
solid.
It's pretty solid. Anyway, or maybe, they don't do a match for fucking once. And it's just a segment with Don Callis, right? Just a segment with Don Callis. Don't do a match for once in your life, but then do the match because, Hologram and Takeshita working together was absolutely electrifying. But, you can one thing and then the other. So the Don Callis, we hear from the Don Callis family.
Don Callis has a new painting.
Yeah, or something like that, right? And then at the start of the night, you see it in Don Callis is like, I'm in the best mood, and he's such a dick when he's happy, and he's like laughing at Kenny Omega's guts exploding and stuff, yeah? And he's like, I'm in a great mood. Yes, Kyle Fletcher didn't quite get the job done. We'll have words, but my God, the last time I had someone in my charge, and this is an AEW detail that they could do, but they just don't do anymore. The last time I had someone under my charge who went 40 minutes in a first-time losing effort for the world title, he became Kenny by God Omega, and draw a parallel between, you're on the right track, because Omega lost his first major show title match in what is people consider a great match. And I'm not actually angry that you failed to win. If you look what Kenny did, right? He just took an extra year and a half, and that's where you'll be. So I couldn't be proud of it. You're going to do what Kenny Omega did, but better because you're younger and da-da-da-da. And he's in a great mood. And you see Don Callis backstage. And then you see, oh my God, there's something under a cloak. And instantly your dumb ass brain, and we've all got them. What's in the box?
Mm-hmm.
I'll go, what's under there? I've got to find that out later. That's pretty cool. Watch your show. Don't do as many matches in my alternative one. And then you see it and you see throughout the night, Don Callis progressively more excited about showing it to people. Maybe a little stagehand is going under there. I need to see a peek at that. And you find the scrawniest little dork you can find. Someone who looks like me, right? Okay. Is in an AEW staff t-shirt, right? And then tries to peek under the hood. And then Callis is like, hey, don't spoil the surprise. Lance Archer, and Lance Archer, who's amazing at being a bully dickhead, will just kill him in a spectacular way, which I'll find,
And he likes to used to throw people into the ceiling.
Something like that, right?
Yeah.
Something like that. And you're like, you get some good characters. You tell a story, and you can get characters interacting with the story beats. God, I sound like Vince Russo here. That's like Rip Rogers. But you know what I mean? If you tell a story with beats and with just even a little show-long naff one like this, you can get a character over, right? And show off their best attributes by interacting and engaging with these story beats, okay?
Wilborn wouldn't have said that ceiling example if they hadn't done that once.
Yeah.
That was an attribute thing.
Mm.
It was a perfect, more than just punching somebody in the face.
Yeah.
Let's leave them a memory here, yeah.
It's throughout the night, if that guy wants to see it, right? And if Lance Archer is so protective over it, that it's this amazing thing that he's willing to destroy someone over it, just glimpsing it too early. What is under the cloak? Mm-hmm. What's under there? I must know. And then eventually you get this, and it's Orange Cassidy, and I had no idea it was on the comeback.
Yep.
Done. It took them 2 seconds for Callis to go, I've got new painting. It's Orange Cassidy, by the way.
Then Rocky Romero went, I'll get him.
Just,
I mean, what the bloody hell was that as well?
what the hell was that? So
You can't do anything. Like,
tell them what happened, and we'll share the terrible comparison we made.
I've just written, Orange Cassidy is in the place of the painting and sidesteps a charging Romero, which doesn't really encapsulate exactly what happened.
Here's the thing. The Sean Stasiak Rock stuff worked because The Rock just nonchalantly was like, what was that? And then Sean Stasiak would take a header into
The Rock didn't know he was in a feud with Sean Stasiak.
Yeah.
For like 2 months.
It was great. It was great stuff. This was so terribly performed.
Rocky Romero's like, I'm coming. I've got about 15 minutes. Yeah. I'll get out of the way now. Is he here yet? No, he's not here yet. Well, I'm fine. I'm safe. Rocky Romero. Whoa! Like, there was never anybody there, Rocky. Useless idiot. He looked so crap. Like, and how, again, like, the theme has not been, when it was better, but like, it was the visual gag company. By orders of magnitude. AEW was like, because it was just sharper. Like, there was less wankers in the room, or in the case of Vincent Mann, the one guy wasn't a massive wanker. Like, it was just wittier, wasn't it?
Yeah.
You know? Being the elite, like, that was one of the appeals.
Yeah.
Put a wrestling company off it, you know, like, this is the opposite.
Yeah.
So, out comes Briscoe and Hologram as well, and Cassidy's music's playing as they hit the ring.
The visual gagger there forgot to submit the video in time. That's not bad.
Yeah.
On the screen.
Dives from Briscoe and Hologram, and Cassidy falls on top of the pile, basically, and then the bell finally rings. It's Briscoe and Hologram hitting corner punches on Hechicero, and Cassidy does one. Hechicero and Hologram with some arm drags. Hechicero hits a pump knee in the corner, monkey flip into a submission, spinning TKO from Hechicero as we go to a break. And we come back, Hologram flips out of a German suplex and gets the Briscoe hot tag. He runs wild with some forearms and a fisherman's buster on Okada. Cassidy comes in. Nice hug for Okada. There's a stun dog millionaire in there. Cassidy tries one on Takeshita, but gets caught. He sort of gets handed off to Okada, who hits an air raid crash knee. Hologram tries a springboard, but jumps into a flapjack from Okada. There's a face-off between Okada and Takeshita. Cassidy comes in with his little kicks. Double Hurricane Rana. Hechicero cuts off Cassidy with a mad scientist bomb and a guillotine head scissors and a hologram. Cassidy comes back in with a spinning DDT. There's a shotgun dropkick from Okada, but Briscoe hits him with a DDT. Takeshita hits a power drive knee and hologram catches him with a float over Casadora gets caught into a bastard driver. Takeshita holds on. Hologram counters into a destroyer.
Oh, hell yeah. The sequence was incredible.
Hechicero wants another mad scientist bomb on Hologram, but Cassidy flies in with an orange punch, and Hologram hits a portal bomb to get the 1-2-3 to take him to 34-0 in AEW. Post-match, out comes Carl Fletcher to say it's good to see Cassidy back. Briscoe, not so much. He said he proved himself in the main event. He belonged in the main event at All Out, and he's going to be very soon future AEW Men's World Champion. But Hangman Page was right. Next one, he felt the worst he's ever felt, crushed, defeated, but he looked in the mirror and remembered who the hell he is. He's going to be the greatest TNT champion of all time. There's a bunch of dorks in the ring. That's what he sees, but also opportunity. Talks about Hologram's undefeated streak, the longest one of any man in AEW history, 34-0, but more like 34 and scared of Carl Fletcher. That's the only reason the streak has lasted this long. And he's good on the.
You know what I mean? Like, I think Carl Fletcher's fantastic. He didn't deliver this in the correct way.
No.
He didn't sell it as, this is terrible.
Yeah.
And I know it deep down.
Title versus streak next week on the anniversary.
It's about goddamn time. He can't do nothing right. You know what I mean? It's like, it's about time. About goddamn time they give Hologram something of substance to do that this it doesn't even matter if you have a formal ranking system. The cause and effect, the purpose of watching everything. Why do you win matches? How to go for titles, pursue titles, and then capture them, dickhead. He's been at this like pretty much a year with nothing. Like, they
only got 34 wins. That's not as many as Mr. Winner himself, Lee Moriarty.
You know what I mean? You know what I mean?
If I had time to count up the title shots he's had, by the way, in amongst that time.
Yeah. It's like, so it's about goddamn time. It is about time they rewarded holograms in undefeated streak within the fictional parameters of their storytelling world. They picked the wrong time to do it. Mark Briscoe should have been given something of real substance to do on this show, as if to say, I can go for a title. I've just beaten one of the most credentialed, decorated, over winningest wrestlers in this promotion. Give me something to do. What's next for Mark Briscoe? I'm just happy for my buddy. What?
Like, when I thought about it, the Briscoe thing.
The Cassidy return, sorry, I just want to say one more thing. That minute was incredible. I like the Okada Takeshita interactions where I couldn't tell whether they were helping each other or like, oh no, I can actually do this better than you, so I'll take care of this Orange Cassidy / come hologram problem. So I like their interactions. There was a lot to like about this match. It was just I wouldn't have booked it. I wouldn't have booked it. Sorry, you were saying.
No, it's all right, because it was like, you can't fault the ambition of it if you just made a bullet point list of the things it's set out to achieve.
This was aspired to be deft.
Yeah, like in some cases, like it's case by case. Like you could praise this if everyone was hot and everything was cooking, and it was just like, yeah, that's good because you've tended to that and that and that and that and that and that. But my big takeaway, because I feel like that was the thing I was sold most on, was Orange Cassidy. Like, we would give WWE both barrels for a similar situation where you could say, God, do you remember the week where they brought back Eddie Kingston and Orange Cassidy from long breaks in the same week? And the answer was, nope, I don't remember that week. Like, that would be that kind of slapdash WWE. You've normalized them in the first night back. Like, those two names over a 7-day period, like, that's piss poor. Yeah. Piss poor. Like, I don't know. This was sold to me as one thing, and it was the kind of least important thing coming out the back end of it, and it leaves a bad taste as a result.
Yeah. I'll say one more thing about something else that I just remembered to bury. Because the counter argument to our bitching might be, well, come on, guys, they don't really have many stars to play with. Loads of people are either out on hiatus, filming, injured, whatever. Cut them some slack. You plug in and play Eddie Kingston.
Yep.
But they didn't.
We're running a bit short on time, so I'm going to just skim through some of the other things that happened. Mina Shirakawa basically said she was fighting hard for tonight for Tony herself and to win the world title, of course. And we got a nice vignette of Jack Perry digging up and nursing Luchasaurus back to health, and Jurassic Express return next week on the anniversary episode of Dynamite, which we'll talk more about next week. Then we got Powerhouse Hobbs versus Claudio. Meat match. Meat chants around. Big body slams from Powerhouse Hobbs after just no-selling a back suplex at one point. They spill to the outside. Hobbs crashes into the stairs after Claudio moves and gets hit with a back suplex onto the barricade. We go to picture-in-picture. When we come back, Hobbs hits corner splashes, but then Claudio moves and hits a huge superplex. Claudio points at Bryan Danielson. He goes for the neutralizer, but Hobbs escapes into another power slam. He eats some lariats and nails Claudio with one of his own. But then here comes Pac on the apron. Hobbs grabs him, but that allows Claudio to get an uppercut and an inside cradle for the 1-2-3. Post-match, out comes Samoa Joe, and Pac just legs it. Hobbs recovers, sends Claudio to the outside, but then here comes Wheeler Yuta and Daniel Garcia to attack. Pac returns as well. It's 4-on-2. Hangman Page runs out to make the save, and there's a stare down between the two groups.
I couldn't care less about the Ops versus the Death Riders at this point. It's weird. I still like the Death Riders. I do think there is something to the new directions that they are teasing with Garcia and whatnot, and Moxley's work continues to be good. I'm done with the Ops versus Death Riders. How much more can one guy take? Be rumbling on for at least 6 months, just looping out, with no end in sight. They've ostensibly fought for the stakes already. Oh, the title's gone. Now we are just doing it again. It feels like they need to reestablish what we're doing here, because I don't actually know what we're doing here, rather than doing stuff for the sake of it. Surely a part of the story has ended. I know Moxley has articulated, it's not the end. Like, this is, I'm not going to give up on it, blah, 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 I still don't see the problem as fixed. Therefore, we are going to keep fixing it. I don't understand. They did at All In thingy Samoa Joe, didn't they? Pillmanize the neck. So there's a personal slant, but they don't really articulate it enough.
No. I'd suggest they didn't. I thought they might.
Not enough promos. Get a microphone in Joe's hand.
I thought they might fold Hangman back into this for a Pac or Daniel Garcia title program, and I still think they might. I think that's what this. You look up and down. Where are the heels for Hangman Page? You got two there that are fresh, or in the case of Pac, there's quite a bit of deep AEW lore that you might want to revisit.
Match was fine. When is it not?
Oh yeah, God, yeah, forgotten it already. Forgotten it while it was happening.
Then it was time for Tony Khan's big announcement, and he talks about what a great 2025 they're having, how AEW's where the best wrestle, especially the women's division, and he's going to introduce new championships.
You're joking. Not another one?
And very soon they are going to crown the inaugural. We like more women's championships. To
Yes.
be fair. The inaugural women's tag team championships. He throws to Renee, who says, "Who wants to see them?" And everyone says, "No," for some reason. They look great. They look just like the men's tag team titles, basically. And very excited to see. It's going to be a tournament. Who gets crowned? That we sort of speculated a bit about on the news. And she uses this as a segue to get into the. Sorry, Sid. Main event of the evening's a women's match.
Apparently so. It was the right time to do it.
Yeah.
Sly. It's always sly, this sort of thing. But if you're going to try and establish the importance of new titles as a thing you should be concerned about and invest in, faking that the women are a main event concern for one night. Bit sly, but quite shrewd at the same time. Quick note on, we covered it off on the preview because we suspected or we heard, maybe even friggin' aggregated, that they were the announcement was going to pertain to women's tag team titles. No more men's ever, new ones. Women have deserved more in this promotion for a long time. So even though you're adding more titles, which is never good, they're the right ones to add. I think we've been saying this for a long time, actually, so I'll gloss over that. Tony Khan, I'm happy in a way that even if it's just a total, fake attempt at parody, the fact that they're the same design is something in that area. And as Hamflet and I have pointed out, it's like a giant version of that layered intercontinental title effect kind of merged with the WCW US title. Those tag team titles are my favorite looking design in all of pro wrestling, so I'm happy that they're still in play. I would have simply have had Tony Khan standing in front of them and then people lift them off because there wasn't an unveiling. It's like me coming into this podcast and wearing a mask, talking, taking it off and going, it was me all along. It's like you've just unveiled the exact same design. You know what I mean? I don't know how you... Maybe just come up with a new good belt, actually, now I come to think of it. It was I, Sidgwick, all along. Do you know what I mean? Don't unveil that which we have already seen.
It's funny. Write that down as a future gimmick.
Yep.
Yeah, good. The reaction was so strange.
Weird crowd. But I don't... if you serve them mediocrity...
So it was, Statlander versus Mina Shirakawa for the AEW Women's title in the main event. Wheeler Yuta's there in Statlander's corner, or offering advice at least before it starts. And Brian says it's taken all of his strength not to go and punch him in the face. There's a tilt-a-whirl leg sweep from Mina early on, and there's a little dance, and Chris just clocks her from behind. That happened a couple of times, actually. There's a nice... wrenching at the knee after Shirakawa sidestepped a corner charge and drives the knee from the apron to the floor as well. Statlander gets sent into the steps. Shirakawa hits a tornado off it, but Statlander hits a back suplex on the apron to take us to a break. As we come back, they both trade finisher attempts. Glamorous Driver, Saturday Night Fever cut off, but Stat hits a spinning Fisherman's Driver for two. More dragon screws to the knee by Mina, who goes up top and hits an avalanche sling blade for a near fall. Loads up for a discus forearm and a roundhouse kick, but Stat avoids the back fist, tries an electric chair. Mina escapes into the figure four, and Stat has to fight to get to the ropes to get the break. Shirakawa wants another sling blade, but gets hit with a thrust kick. Discus forearms to Stat and a back fist. She goes back for the figure four.
Well, if you're going to take the piss out of Mount Rushmore, then you know I'm going to fire back at you.
I forgot about
I'm
Rich
going to give you a receipt.
Status an up kick and a seatbelt pin to retain.
Right. I thought this match was good, not great. People on Twitter are saying it's amazing.
What?
Let's not become that. Let's not do that. Let's hold. This is still capable, I think, of reaching a very high standard. Let's not, patronize it. It's the last thing a billionaire needs in his life. I thought action-wise, drama-wise, atmosphere-wise, just given the general just quality of Dynamite last night, this had a pretty low ceiling imposed upon it. So I was never I don't think it stood a chance, really. The show was the show. The crowd was the crowd. I will say, though, Mina Shirakawa is really, really, really good at treating these matches, that when she gets these big matches, without overdoing it, really good at making it feel like she's in the match of her life. What an opportunity she's got. This will to win that she shows in these matches and this desire, I think she's a really good worker in that respect. Really good. Even if the nuts and bolts of it mechanically, sometimes it doesn't always look amazing and crisp and impactful. But body language on Shirakawa is great.
I would agree with that. She measures it well.
Yeah.
You don't get it every week, but nor should you.
Yeah.
She kind of has this little hidden gear, doesn't she?
Really good, I think.
There's been a few times where we've complimented that when it's a big night for on a Dynamite.
Yeah.
And it's not like you don't just then go, oh, Mina Shirakawa, great wrestler. But you kind of remember those times when she's turned it up a notch.
Quick note on Ladies' Night, very quick, because we're running out of time. And back to one women's match on AEW Dynamite after a streak of 2 weeks. Main event, though, so that was good. And that gives the win to me. So 7 for the year, 5 for the two of you each. We'll revisit this next week. But post-match, Yuta is ecstatic with his charge, winning this match. Holly Cameron's like, my mate, runs down, hugs Statlander. Out comes all the Death Riders, Claudio Pac, Garcia, Mox, Shafir. They come through the crowd. Yuta's just clapping. Mox gets in the ring, and Yuta again hugs Statlander and raises a hand. Holly Cameron's like, what the hell's happening? But Stat just nails Yuta with a clothesline, ducks a charging Shafir, flips off Mox, and bails through the crowd. She's not joining the Death Riders. Yet, at least.
That's a big angle, big payoff. That's probably closed the show, right?
No. Because then Darby Allin's music hit. He comes out with a flamethrower. Mark's like, bothered. Until Darby...
But he shouldn't be bothered because he was completely fine.
Yeah, I know.
I did like the bit where he backed off after Darby points the flamethrower at him and sort of stumbles over the stairs.
That was good.
Darby takes the mic and says to Mox he's never going to quit and challenges Mox to an I Quit match at a Wrestle Dream. And there's a big match next week. It's Darby Allin and Chris Statlander versus Yuta and Shafir. And Darby's, firing off the flamethrower as we close this show.
Perfect stipulation for Mox and Darby, the two AEW wrestlers I can least imagine saying those words. Excellent. Right, so I'll give my thoughts on the match. This Statlander stuff was so weird. Like, she's been playing this kind of annoying, motives unclear wrestler for some time. I've been baffled, quite frankly, by how I'm meant to receive it. Maybe that's the point, and it was all leading to this big sort of moment where she makes a choice. Am I a heel or am I a babyface? And then she's a babyface who's quite annoying about it. And it gives me no pleasure because I think Chris Statlander, I just think she's great. But my God, the double double bird flip wasn't for me. Running away, has there ever been a context where a babyface has done it and it's worked?
Well, funnily enough, DDP into the crowd and creates that moment when he rejects the NWO.
Yeah.
But
Even then,
it's a kind of a rule-proven exception. It killed Randy Orton as a babyface first time around.
Yeah, I think MGF did a bit of it in 2023, which is just not, it's never a good idea. So I just didn't like, and as well, right, it's like you're kind of cheating a little bit. You didn't make this decision to go, I reject everything about the way you approach AEW. I like this wholesome world where, everything's upside down, but I'm just kind of crazy, like this dorky AEW universe in which we now live. Statlander, to a degree, is embodied it the whole time.
Yeah.
And I think maybe the idea is meant to be come take it serious, come win championships, okay? And she's like, you know what? No, this might be dumb. We might be playing games, but God damn it. I don't know why I'm doing character.
It's my rock.
But God damn it. Not this crazy world might not make sense to you. Well, maybe I'm just crazy because it makes sense to me, huh? And like that's like I think that's what we're meant to be doing because she's palling around with Harley Cameron and whatnot.
You don't have to be dorky to work here, but it helps.
That kind of thing. It's like you might think
Great sign.
You might think I'm a dork. You might think this is all silly, but this is just who I am, Wheeler. That kind of thing. Maybe that's what they were going for
Next week,
here.
it's Darby Allin and Dorky Allin over here. Dorky Allin Jones.
Okay. So I think that was what this was all going for.
Yeah.
She took his move.
Yeah, it's worked twice.
It's worked twice, took the move, and I understand it's a misdirect, but at the same time, it's like, well, hang on. It's not...
You might have made the wrong call.
It's not this amazing big baby face. I reject everything about your values. Now I'm going to do it my way or the highway. Yeah! Not quite that, is it? It's I'll take your move. That's actually quite useful. Everything else, though...
That's wouldn't have retained my title, actually.
Yeah. Really, thank you for that, and thank you. Really, I'll take the move. That came in useful. Thank you. Everything else, no, not me.
Have you got a corner, Sidge, for maybe trying to offer an argument as to why that thing that you don't like might have happened? Because I think I've got the argument, but I don't know the corner that I would maybe, like... Yeah.
Devil's Advocate corner.
Could this lead to John Moxley, like, really abusing and bullying Wheeler Yuta for what we believe to be the, I'm kind of over you, I've got Danny Garcia now. And Wheeler's like, but come, like, we all thought she was in. This is not, I've done my thing here. I've done my best. She was using my move and all that. Like, that gives Wheeler Yuta his plausible deniability. So when Moxley's been an absolute arsehole to Wheeler Yuta.
You have to talk first.
Yeah, true. Like, but then that, like, there's a bit of...
You can wrestle, I don't know. Who can you wrestle next week?
Oh,
Who?
The week after.
Who are we talking about?
I'm just saying, like, instead of talking.
yeah, they could cut...
AR Fox?
Yeah, done it before. Do it again.
Beat AR
That'd be
Fox in the
great.
match.
Oh, yeah, who wins that match, I reckon? I want to book you for the anniversary special. Thanks, Mr. Khan. Yourself, you lose the match.
But yeah, like, could it be so that Willie has got that little modicum of sympathy because you're trying to babyface him within this new Death Riders thing?
God, I don't know.
And then that's why
You were
Statlander...
by in the goddamn sky with his Eddie Kingston stuff. So the next time you play Devil's Advocate, I suggest you don't. And the flamethrower can suck my ass as well.
Yeah.
Right,
that's
I'm sorry.
Criminal lack of selling being set on fire.
Yeah.
I've got my rules. I'm brave enough to say it. You be set on fire, you should sell being set on fire even a bit. Like
Here's the thing.
Like crimes, do you?
First of all, I hate crimes. The wackiness is just appalling to me at this point. Okay, but I've got a broader point to make. First of all, you've gone on fire now. John Moxley, because it was like, oh God, I've been set on fire. And I was like, it didn't really affect me. I'm going to come out and I haven't been burned or anything like that. I'm afraid of fire now. It's like, well, you give it a week or two. Anyway, Pittsburgh has been historically known as a rubbish pro wrestling town for years. Maybe WWE was just terrible for 2 decades. Okay? As demonstrated by, I think it was episode 4 of AEW Dynamite. They go to Pittsburgh and everyone's like, oh, well, this could be bad for AEW. I mean, the whole thing is, well, one of the things about AEW is got these hot crowds and they shouldn't be going to Pittsburgh this early. Pittsburgh loves them. So you get, say it's 4,000 or whatever in Pittsburgh, or 5,000, whatever, in Pittsburgh, going mad bonkers for the pro wrestling action, right? When it's good and when it's well told and when it feels cutting edge and all the rest of it. 6 years later, you're getting less of a reaction in front of far fewer people with a flamethrower. It just, yeah. I don't think flamethrowers are good or they're going to work particularly. They didn't really work last year. It's like for novelty, it's crap. And it's a hat on top of a hat on top of a hat. Maybe just don't wear a hat. See you later.
Wait a second. What's that mask he's wearing? Oh my God, it's Sidgwick. You've been sidged. Goodbye. Yeah.
You are the weakest itch. Goodbye.
There's
I
like,
don't know,
you know,
man.
like those Graham Pot Reddits,
I'm
but it's
actu-
you as everyone on the Weakest Link in Community. What's her name?
Anne Robinson.
Anne Robinson.
I'm actually surprised it took this long to get unhinged. We did well here.
Yeah.
Good analysis that you're all going to hate.
This was a good review that you enjoyed. Tell us how much you enjoyed this review, because we know you did.
Should we leave it there?
Yeah.
Let us know your thoughts on AEW.
Forever.
Let us know your thoughts on AEW Dynamite in the comment section below, or on X at WhatCulture WWE. Watch, so you can follow all three of us. You can follow Michael Hamflet at
Michael Hamflet.
or Michael Sidgwick at. Oh my God!
M. Sidgwick.
Whoa. Sidgy.
Please wear a mask on the Dynamite preview next week. Me, Hamflet, and some guy, Mr. Question Mark here, singing the Ladies' Night theme.
El Defdo. We haven't seen you in years.
You can follow me at Adam Wilmore. Follow us all at WhatCulture WWE.
Hey, look, it's El Richo.
Make sure you subscribe to WhatCulture Wrestling wherever you get your podcasts from for daily wrestling podcasts, but for now it's been the Dynamite Review. My thanks to Hamlet Sidgwick. Thank you for joining us, and we will see you soon.